It's the Brad and John Show.
The Brad and John Show for Tuesday, August 25th. Excuse me, August 26th. This is the C block, the Charlie block, which means we start around 7:40. John, I have an update. I got a... Hold on, I forgot to turn you up. The topic is St. Charles County politics, and the topic is, I told you, I think it was a week ago Wednesday, after we had the kerfuffle on the air with Mike Ehlmann, and then we had the Mark Lamping getting all upset and making an excellent and making
John Lamping,
and making an excellent suggestion to divide Klondike Park into eighth-acre parcels and have young people with families move there. I thought to myself, that's an excellent idea.
Yeah, of course it is.
I tried to get Steve Ehlmann on the air to talk about if he's going to run or not. And I called my old employee, Kevin Killeen, who used to work at KMOX for a long time, worked for me back in the 90s. And I didn't hear back from him until yesterday.
And you can't, because that's a campaign statement, and Kevin is paid to talk about official government stuff, and Kevin can't respond to campaign inquiries.
Well, no, it was interesting. He called me back yesterday, apologized not getting back to me, said he had a couple of vacation days that he took Thursday and Friday, and that's why he's calling me back today, which was yesterday. And I said to him, Kevin, we talked about with Mike Ehlmann and a couple other people talked about the Bill Eigel situation and the Jason Law situation and the fact that Steve Ehlmann may be putting his hat back into the race as far as for county executive. And his response was something to the effect that, like, that's come up a couple times in our office, and all I can tell you is Steve's a great poker player. So essentially, even Steve is not showing any tells to his staff. And I said, well, here's my request. Could we get Steve Ehlmann on the air to talk about this and talk about the fact that, is he going to run or not? And Kevin said, I will run it by him, and I'll see what he says. So we'll...
Interesting. That's interesting, Brad. I mean, my supposition is that it can't go anywhere because Kevin, again, works for the county.
Yeah.
And to go to set something up that's explicitly about a campaign reelection thing would violate every campaign finance law.
Well,
so if Steve came on to talk about Klondike, well, it wouldn't be Klondike Park. If Steve came on to talk about something newsworthy involving county government, Kevin would set it up. But you poison the well by saying campaign reelection, and Kevin can't do anything with that.
He said he's going to talk to him.
Okay, sure. So we won't hear from Steve, and we won't ever get a call back because you framed it in the nature of campaign stuff. But it was a good inquiry, Brad, and it was a good try.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, Steve might say, hey, I'm Steve Ehlmann. I can do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's absolutely true, Brad.
He used to be a judge, and he was a state rep and a state senator too, wasn't he? Didn't he? Was a
yeah,
rep?
he sure was. He ran for Congress. Let's not forget, he ran for Congress.
That's right.
once.
I forgot about that. So, and to be honest with you, I'm not Steve Ehlmann's buddy, I mean, I do have his cell phone number. I could call him direct, but I'm not gonna do that. But I do believe he's done a good job in St. Charles County. And part of it has to do with the fact that, remember, you complimented me. I said, it's steady hand at the wheel, okay? He's not some nutbag like the guy in St. Louis County who, is now indicted for criminal activity and stuff like that. He's not some, weirdo from the city who, who still, we have this terrible crime problem, but yet, could we hire more police officers? Oh, we don't need that. We need
social workers. We need social workers.
We need social workers. Yeah, right. We don't need police officers. We don't need no stinking police officers. We need social workers. And I just don't get it. And see, the crazy thing about this is there's an article, matter of fact, there's two articles I read over the weekend, and one of them today, that's talking about that Trump is setting a trap for the Dem-run cities. You know what the trap is?
No, what's the trap?
The trap is he's essentially saying, I'm going to send in the National Guard just like you do in D.C. Look what we've been done in D.C. No murders in the last 11 days. Number of crimes gone way, 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 way down. I'm ready to do that to any other city in the country, but the Democratic mayors in these cities that have all these problems don't want me. So are they essentially saying, hey, we're just happy with our crime problem. Mr. President, don't come and decrease the murder rate to zero, and don't decrease the carjacking. And interesting thing about that is, I read this interesting story, which goes along with what you and I have talked about. They talk about the crime numbers are way down. And there's people who live in D.C. telling the stories about how they call 911 and the dispatcher will say, well, it'll be an hour and a half till someone can come there and take the report on your car break-in. And they just said, don't worry about it. I'll just call my insurance company. So the idea being is we talked about the police officers fudging the reports, or at least the management, the command structure of the police department saying fudging the reports. And essentially what this person is saying, the problem is there are no reports because people have gotten so weary with the crime situation and the terrible police protection in D.C. that they don't even bother dialing 911. And then I heard somebody on another talk show yesterday, who shall remain nameless, give an example that there was during a Cardinals game a couple years back, there was a break-in at one of the parking lots, and they broke into 41 different cars. They smashed out either the driver's side or the passenger side.
And how did it get reported in the books, Brad?
One report.
Yeah, and Jane Duker makes that point quite a bit. She makes both points, Brad. The fact that if you have a series of break-ins, it'll be reported as one incident. If it's even a series of multiple streets, it'll be reported as one incident. Jane also makes the point that folks don't, the numbers are chronically underreported, because what's the point if your car window gets broken? What's the point of reporting it to the police? They're not going to do anything.
Well, now what's interesting, someone in one of my family members who used to work in Graefe Corps had their car broken into, believe it or not, in a parking garage, of all crazy things, in Graefe Corps right there, 270 and Olive. And this particular family member called the police. The police came out and actually dusted for prints. I was impressed.
Wow, that's surprising. And that's in Graefe Corps proper.
Yes, yeah, right there at, as a matter of fact, it's that parking garage.
And you brought up earlier, Brad, I didn't read the article, but I saw a headline that J.B. Pritzker is telling Trump, don't send troops into Chicago because we don't want them. Your help is not needed.
Right, exactly. And to the point where that's the idea, and that's what they're talking about. The Dem mayors are essentially falling into a trap with Trump because he's saying, hey, I'm going to send police and we're going to clean things up. And they're going like, oh, things are just fine. Yeah, talk to people in Chicago. That would be like, talk to somebody. Let's say Donald Trump said, hey, I've got friends that live in St. Louis, and I heard there's a terrible crime problem on Washington Avenue, just west of Tucker. I know where that's at. I've been there before. Matter of fact, I was thinking about putting a hotel there, but I didn't. But I think that I'm going to send in some Missouri National Guard members to just patrol Washington Avenue. That would be like Mayor Spencer saying, oh, no, don't bother. Things are fine on Washington Avenue.
You're exactly right. We don't want people to feel safe.
Right. Things are fine on Washington. There's never any crime problems on Washington Avenue. We don't have any problems at all on Wash Avenue. It's just no big deal. I don't understand it. And the crazy thing about this is that, and let me just put it to you this way, okay? And John, see if you can understand my pretzel logic, okay? I've heard many people on the Democratic side say, well, what do these soldiers know about crime prevention? Well, they don't have police training. Okay, John, if you're a criminal and you see a St. Louis City cop and you know that if you do something wrong, chances are they're going to come and put the silver bracelets on you and put you in the back of the squad car, and they're going to, process you, and then an hour after you've been arrested, you're back out on the street. You know the routine. But when you see a couple of, let's say, 4 or 5 Army National Guard dudes, and you're thinking, I don't know what these guys can do. These guys may essentially beat the crap out of me, and nobody would say anything because they don't have body cameras. They're not regular police. Don't you think the fact that you enter the unknown element into the equation, that alone is driving down crime because they don't know what to do? They play.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but it's a deterrent. And a criminal is going to see a lawman with a gun and some sort of authority, and he's probably not going to go up and check his jurisdiction and interrogate him about, hey, now if I were to ostensibly commit a crime, what jurisdiction are you capturing me under? He's going to just say, okay, I'm going to go find a softer target.
Right. And the National Guard guys are an unknown quantity because they don't have any experience with them. The interesting thing about this is you see these reports all the time about these guys who get arrested, and that was their 40-second arrest, and you go
exactly.
Now, let's talk about this for a minute. The Mondami guy in New York City, which I think everybody's pretty much agreed he's going to be the next mayor because, you've got great candidates.
Just the math. Yeah. What did he say recently, Brad?
Well, he wants to get rid of misdemeanors.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I mean, in other words, and what's interesting was yesterday I read an article that talked about what misdemeanors were in New York City, and one of the misdemeanors was it was like third-class sexual assault. So in other words, if he got rid of the misdemeanors, a dude could walk up to a woman on the subway, grab her buttocks, or grab her
give something else a little honk,
grab her breasts, and essentially that would be a class 3 misdemeanor, and they could arrest him, but no, they probably wouldn't even arrest him. They'd say class 3 misdemeanor. We don't even prosecute that anymore. Sorry. I'm going like,
yeah. Brad, are you planning on moving to New York?
No. The interesting thing about this is that look at the juxtaposition of we go back to the crazy times before Rudy Giuliani came into office, when New York City was just crazy nuts. There was all sorts of crazy crime and stuff like that. And Rudy Giuliani came in and essentially did what they called the broken window theory. You know what I'm talking about, John?
Yeah. We've discussed it on the show many times, Brad. Explain it.
The idea being is that if you are like a city organization, like the building codes and stuff like that, that if you have like a warehouse building, or let's say the building is even abandoned, if you let it sit there with one broken window, then there's another broken window, and people, and it essentially, it exponentially creates this situation that people know, well, nobody cares. We can just break out the windows. The idea being is that you don't necessarily get rid of the misdemeanors. You go after those misdemeanor crimes. You go after the stupid little street crimes. You go after, somebody stealing a purse. You go after somebody shoplifting. You go after someone who grabs some woman's butt on the subway, and you prosecute those people, and you send the message that, hey, look, murder, yeah, we're going to come and get you. Rape, yeah, we're going to come and get you. Anything else, we're coming to get you just as well. So knock it off. And people get the idea of being like, I better not do any of that kind of stuff, right? Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah. It's the equivalent of that in your life, Brad, is what I call the ipsum lorem theory. Like if you go to a Brad website and there's just a bunch of Greek language on it, you're like, hey, let's fix that Greek language because it just sets the tone. You know what I'm saying, Brad?
It's for our
I'm still going to go to fastfoodmediet.com and order for less than $80.
$77.
Because real talk,
yes,
I want to lose weight, but I don't want to give up my nuggets and my Taco Bell. So if I go there and I see some ipsum lorem, I'm not going to be deterred because I want to get that fast food diet.
For those of you new to the show, you may be thinking that John Combest is making fun of me when actually...
Yeah, but I'm clearly not.
Actually, he's complimenting me because he's bringing out the very interesting copy points in my latest commercial that he absolutely adores. But he would never ever say, Brad, that was a really good commercial, and that gal, you can hardly tell she's AI. But
what did I say yesterday on the show, Brad?
You said she's, what did you call her, AI Alley or something like that or something?
Well, I mean, she's very clearly AI. A child can hear that it's AI. But the copy, which clearly wasn't written by you because it's clear and it's engaging and witty, and it doesn't use 1960s colloquialisms. It's a great ad, Brad. I absolutely love it. And I thought, Brad, and this is a compliment to you, you can go to your stations and you can hear a dog doo-doo commercial and you don't have to worry about ever hearing a promo for the Brad and John show on Westplex Talk 104.5. You'll hear brand new promos from another AI woman touting the show. You're listening to Westplex Talk 104.5, but you can hear a dog doo-doo commercial, but you never have to worry of any time during the day hearing a quick 15-second promo for the Brad and John show, can you?
And John, you know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do, Brad?
I'm going to chop up this section right here, which you just said. I'm going to put it on as a promo.
I hope you do, Brad.
I'm going to do it. And by the way, I'm not even doing editing. That's right. John Combest is talking about the Brad and John show. The Brad and John show every morning, Monday through Friday, from 7 to 8 o'clock live. Every single morning on Westplex 104.5, Westplex Talk 104.5, KSOQ. And you can also stream it at westplextalk.com or at bjshow.com. How's that for a promo, John?
Brad, I cannot wait. Jokes aside, I cannot wait to hear that. That is so funny. That's a brilliant idea.
John, what's the old story? Every once in a while, a blind squirrel can find a nut. Is that what it is?
Yeah. There's a lid for every pot. A blind squirrel finds a nut. A broken clock is right twice a day.
Okay. Let's go back to what you talked about in the top three, the explosion up in North County. Okay, seriously. I mean, what do you think is going to come out from this? I mean, a lot of times these things come out, and I hate to say this, but how many times have you seen these stories where you have these explosions like this, and it turns out that somebody was, and I'm not implying anything, somebody was behind in their house payments, or they were mad at their neighbors, and they left, and they put like a timed cigarette lighter or something like that, and they turned on the gas valve. What do you think is going to happen with this?
Yeah, I have no idea, Brad. And I think that one of the misperceptions there, and I think maybe it was St. Louis Public Radio or maybe it was the Post-Dispatch, did a good job pointing out that every time there's an explosion like this, they have the bomb unit come. And people hear bomb unit and they say, oh my God, there must have been suspicious play. But one of the media outlets pointed out that that unit comes and investigates every type of explosion, no matter what. It's just what they do. I don't have any idea, Brad. I mean, I think that our mind always wants to go to something nefarious or something, some kind of foul play. But I'm guessing it could have just been somebody as simple as somebody left their gas on. I don't know, Brad.
Well, once again, that's why I don't have gas at any of my places. Don't have gas. Sorry. Do you have gas at your house, John?
I do have gas at my house.
John.
Yeah. Real quick before we forget, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that, the Willowyck subdivision there?
Yeah.
That was the location of the first, and I mean the first ever Republican event I ever attended in the year of our Lord, 1994.
Really? It was in the Willowyck subdivision?
Yeah, the Willowyck condominium conference room was for a long time the meeting place of the Spanish Lake Township Republican Club.
Interesting.
And so my very first meetings were there for the first few years that I was involved in Republican campaigns. A woman named Jean Graefe, Ernestine Beckman, they were the committee people up there in Spanish Lake. And Lori Donovan was the state rep up there. And we would meet in the condominium. Now, Brad, that's 31 years ago. And as we say in North County, the neighborhood is, quote, changed, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that was just pretty much a condominium place of older white folks. And we met up there for the Spanish Lake Township Republican Club.
Did you say her name was Jane Graefe?
Jean Graefe, yeah. Gejean and then Graefe.
I think I went to school with her.
You probably did. She was a lifelong North Countian, Brad.
Yeah, I believe I went to school with her.
She lived right around Hazelwood Central, so I think she lived there her whole life, yeah.
Interesting. And as John would say, anytime I mention any of the people that I still know that live in North County, have they checked their home value yet? I was going to say, I don't know if she's still with us, because if she went to school with you, chances are good she's passed over to the other side, right? That's right. And because John doesn't believe I graduated from Hazelwood High School in 1953, because John says
I say that doesn't even exist. Brad, I can't wait for you to chop up C Block and run our promo on the show.
I'll do it. Okay, John?
I can't wait to hear it, Brad.